Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you can see the screen?
Yes,
Chap-
Mataji. Yes, I can see.
Yes, so I think the live stream is also done. Yes, then maybe we can start from this. Krishna Prabhu, today, your reading is there.
Oh, I'm reading, is it?
Yeah, well, if you like to, if you are okay with that.
Okay, okay. Mataji, what I was thinking, I will read it tomorrow because I
Okay,
was thinking
sure.
to log in the laptop, and then it will be
Okay,
easy to
fine.
read. I just logged in with the phone.
Okay, no worries, Prabhuji. Then maybe tomorrow. Satish Prabhu, will it be okay for you to take
Yes,
for
Mataji.
today?
Sure, Mataji. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah. Chapter 58, A Visit to Boston. Boston, May 1968. The apartment was near the elevated train line in a rough, lower class neighborhood of Boston, but it was the best Sattva Swarupa could offer. Just before Srila Prabhupada had left for India on July 24, 1967, he had sent Satswarupa here to Boston, affectionately rubbing his hand up and down Satvaswarupa's back as a blessing. At first, Satvaswarupa had been alone, working full time at the welfare department, hoping to find a storefront suitable for a center. Then Hamsuduta and his wife Himavati had joined him, as had Jadurani, who had been having difficulty doing her artwork in the New York temple. Hamsuduta cooked, Himavati helped him and did the house cleaning. Jadurani painted, and Satvaswarupa went to his job. On Sundays, they would chant on the Boston Common. In September, Srila Prabhupada wrote from Vrindavan expressing pleasure that even in his absence, his disciples had opened a Krishna conscious center in Boston. Physically, I may not be, I may be present or not, he wrote, but the work must continue. Kindly make the Boston Center very nice. He closed. The prospect there is very good due to large number of students. The Boston devotees considered Prabhupada's letter very important, and as they studied and quoted the letter, it strengthened their convictions. While cooking, Hamsatuda would think about what Prabhupada had said in his letter. Satvaswarupa would meditate on the letter while riding to work on the train and chanting on his beats, and the woman who sometimes quarreled, usually about why Jadurani didn't keep her room clean, would improve the quality of their conversation by referring to Prabhupada's recent letter. After a couple of months in Boston, Satvaswarupa found a tiny storefront for rent. Even before he was able to get a key and see inside, Prabhu, he wrote Prabhupada about the little storefront situation among student apartment buildings near Boston University. When Satvaswarupa had gained entrance to the storefront for the first time, he had come alone and had checked out the bare front room, the basement, and the oil burner. Just as when he was about to leave, however, he spotted a blue aerogram on the floor. Although it lay only a few feet from the door, he hadn't noticed it on entering. Picking the aerogram up, he saw that it was from Swamiji in Calcutta. It was as if Swamiji were there to greet him, a miracle. As Satvaswarupa tore the blue aerogram, he considered how it had traveled from hand to hand, originating with Swamiji in his room in Calcutta and had flown to America, mixed in with thousands of other letters in large mail bag, and had been separated and brought here to a building where no one lived. Yet the mailman had put it through a chute, and it had glided a few feet and landed on the floor, where it had sat for days. This was, of course, no more than a miracle of the postal service. But what the postman could not have possibly appreciated was that so much was being carried in the lightweight aerogram. Sitting on the window shelf, Satvaswarupa read Swamiji's words. I can understand that you have secured a very nice place in Boston, and there is a very good possibility of pushing our movement among the student community there. Our movement is certainly very much appealing to the younger section of your country, and if we are successful in the matter of attracting the students community in your country, certainly this movement will scatter all over the world. And the foretelling of Lord Chaitanya that in every village and every town of the world, the Lord will be famous for his glorious Sankirtan movement. Please strive for this with your heart and soul, and your life will be a successful mission. Sattva Swarupa took their letter as confirmation that they should start taking this building. But as there was little space and no hot water, and as Hemavati was pregnant, Hamsuduta decided to move with his wife to the Montreal temple. At the same time, however, another disciple Pradyumna, moved to Boston. So Sattva Jadurani, and Pradyumna moved into the little storefront. Srila Prabhupada wrote Sattva from India, asking him to try and get him an appointment as a lecturer at the University of Boston. Such an appointment, Prabhupada resonated, would enable him to easily obtain permanent residency in the US. In the US. Sattva went first to Harvard, where administrators and faculty members simply sent him from office to office. Although some of them seemed curious to hear about the learned Swami, his books, and his mission, none seriously considered endorsing the Swami as a member of the Harvard facility. Sattva continued, however, walking from office to office, wrapped in thought of Swamiji, praying to be a better and more effectual disciple. Keenly, he felt the lack of appreciation of these educators for that person who was actually the most valuable teacher of all. A famous Sanskrit professor in his cubbyhole within the Widener library gave half an hour to hearing from Sattva about the Swami and talking to him about the Vedas. But the professor was unable to sign a letter requesting that the Swami come to America. Finally, after several days at Harvard, Sattva managed to reserve a hall in the fraternity house for a single evening in November. The most difficult part was to persuade the house clerk to type a letter to the fraternity's letterhead acknowledging that Swami Bhaktivedanta would lecture at the hall for one night in November. Although it was only a tiny victory, Sattva was pleased nevertheless. He sent the Harvard letter to Swamiji, who gratefully acknowledged it, but added that an appointment as lecturer would have been better. November came and Swamiji was still in India. So Sattva Pradyumna, and Jadurani attended the engagement themselves, handling lively debates with the students. The Harvard Crimson printed a picture of the devotees, describing them as prophets. Śrīla Prabhupada said he liked that in his absence, his disciples were acting as prophets of Krishna consciousness. One night, about 2 weeks before Prabhupada left India for San Francisco, Sattva dreamed that Swamiji had already come to Boston. When he wrote Prabhupada about this, Prabhupada replied, "You have described in your letter that my presence again before you will be wonderful. I quite agree that it will be wonderful to be with you. Your sincere prayer to Lord Narasimhadev is helping me to recuperate my health, and you will be glad to know that I am arriving in San Francisco on 14th December. I can understand that you are all thinking for me 24 hours, and therefore Sattva had a dream, and I had gone to Boston and was enjoying your company. On December 14th, 1967, Srila Prabhupada arrived in San Francisco. The next day, a devotee there phoned the devotees in Boston and told them details of Swamiji's arrival. He said he might even be able to arrange for Swamiji to speak to them on the phone. At least he would try. Then one night, the phone rang in the Boston storefront, and it was Swamiji. Jadurani, who answered, said she had heard that Swamiji had looked very healthy at the airport and that he had been walking quickly and was tanned from the sun. When Prabhupada mentioned that he had traveled all the way from India by himself, Jadurani corrected, but Krishna was there with you. Sattva was next. Swamiji, he began, we miss you very much. And Prabhupada replied, yes, and I'm hearing you also. Then Pradyumna spoke to Prabhupada, explaining how he was trying to advertise Srimad Bhagavatam. Afterwards, each devotee related to the others what Swamiji had said. Each admitted to having said at least one very foolish thing to Swamiji, but they agreed that everything Swamiji had said had been wonderful. Swataswarupa's and Pradyumna's happiness became so great that they couldn't restrain themselves from rolling on the floor. On the phone, Prabhupada had said that when he had left America, he had had very little hope of returning. But Krishna had informed him that he was not going to die immediately, so he had returned. He had said that he was getting inspiration in Krishna consciousness from his own disciples, whom he considered to be good souls. Prabhupada later wrote the Boston devotees from San Francisco. Although officially I am your spiritual master, I consider all you students as my spiritual master because your love for Krishna and service for Krishna teach me how to become a sincere Krishna conscious person. He told them that although they were only 3 devotees, they should each work for 300. A Krishna conscious person, Prabhupada explained, is never tired of working. Prabhupada saw this as a symptom of spiritual advancement in his disciples, many of whom never tired of devotional service and always wanted to be overloaded with more and more work. To each of the 3 devotees in Boston, Prabhupada had given specific engagement. Jadurani's was painting. Prabhupada had told her to increase the beauty of Back to Godhead magazine with illustrations. He had especially commissioned certain paintings. Radha Krishna and Vrindavan, Lord Vishnu, Lord Chaitanya with his 4 principal associates, Lord Chaitanya and his associates performing Kirtana, as well as the paintings of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and Swamiji himself. Since Jadurani didn't have much art training, her first paintings had been crude, and Prabhupada had sometimes laughed to see a picture's defects. But he had been pleased with Jadurani, who chanted Hare Krishna while she worked and executed each painting just according to his instructions. If she stayed absorbed in painting, Prabhupada said, then wherever she lived would be as good as Vrindavan. Prabhupada wrote to Jadurani asking her to gather other female disciples interested in art, form an art department, and flood the world with paintings of Krishna. The paintings, he said, were like the windows to the spiritual world. He instructed her in many of the details of paintings. The airplanes in Vaikuntha aren't exactly the airplanes here, but it is something like the swan while flying, in shape, with a throne on the back, decked all over with golden filigree work, and looking very brilliant. It isn't a bird flying, but the shape of the plane is like the swan bird flying. In depicting the fight between the boar incarnation of Lord Krishna and demon Hiranyaksha, Prabhupada gave specific instructions. The demons could assume any gigantic shape they liked. They can play jugglery. They are not ordinary human beings. You must know that a person with whom God had to fight is not an ordinary person. He could play almost equally with the Lord, but nobody can excel the Lord. Yes, Varaha is very beautiful. Generally, the boar picture is depicted as half human and half boar, but in Bhagavatam, it is stated that full boar. You can make the first two legs as two hands and the rear two legs as legs and make it as beautiful as possible. Yes, he is reddish, just like a boar. Eager to approve her art, Jadurani began studying the great masters. But when she painted Narada Muni after the style of Raphael, Prabhupada said that Narada looked so Narada looked too sensuous. He said he preferred her first painting of Narada, although it had not been much more than a stick figure, because she had carefully tried to follow a print he had given her. Seeing the new census Narada and hearing of Jadurani's plan to study art and sell her paintings, Prabhupada replied critically, "You are already a great artist. You don't want to become a great artist to satisfy the senses of the public. If your present paintings are not acceptable to the general public, I don't mind. They are fools. You continue trying your best to make your pictures as far as they can be nice looking, but not to satisfy the senses of the rascal public. Yesterday, I was in a Unitary church and there I saw two pictures of only logs and bamboo, and it was explained to me by our great artist Govinda Dasi that these are modern abstract art. Anyway, I couldn't see in them anything but a combination of logs and bamboos. There is nothing to impel my Krishna consciousness. So, if you want to be a great artist in that way, I will pray that Krishna may save you. Anyway, if the public doesn't buy, we don't mind. Why you are anxious for selling? We shall distribute them to devotees without any price. If our things have no market in the sense gratification society, that does not mean we are going to change our principles. We are meant to satisfy, we are meant for satisfying Krishna, not anybody's senses. That should be the principle of our life. Jadurani became despondent, feeling like a fool and a deviant disciple. She wrote Prabhupada only a brief reply. For several days she mopped, considering a situation hopeless. Then she received another letter. This is the this is the first time I have received a letter from you finished in only 3 lines. So I can understand that you have been depressed by receiving my last letter. The idea is that there is a story that I have lost my caste and still my belly is not fulfilled. In India, it is the custom that the Hindus do not even do not ever take meals in the house of Mohammedan, Christian, or anyone other than the house of a Hindu Brahmin. But a man was very hungry and accidentally he took his food in the house of a Mohammedan. And when he wanted still more food, the man refused as the Mohammedan could not supply. So the Hindu man said, "Sir, I have lost my caste and still I am hungry." Similarly, if artistic pictures Similarly, if artistic pictures as they are approved by the people in general in this country can be sold quickly, I have no objection to present our pictures in such a way. But I know that pictures in this country are not sold on the merit of the picture, but on the reputation of the artist. That system is also current in India. But to come to the point of a reputed artist will require a long duration of time, and our time is very short. We have to finish our Krishna consciousness during our lifetime, and we should not waste a single moment for anything else. According to Chaitanya Charitamrita, a man is famous who is known as a great devotee of Krishna. So if there is not possibility of selling our pictures immediately on presentation, I don't think there is any necessity to improve our artistic craftsmanship. We should be satisfied with our pictures hanging in our different temples, but we may not sacrifice our valuable time for becoming famous artists so that the pictures may be sold like hotcakes. Of course, I am not an artist, neither I have the power to see from an artistic viewpoint. I am a layman, so whichever picture appeals to me, I say it is nice. And whichever picture it does not appeal to me, I say it is not nice. That is my common sense affair. Therefore, my remark has no value from artistic uh, from artistic sense. Anyway, don't be depressed. You can go on with your work, and we shall talk more on the subject when we meet together. Taking heart, Jadurani continued to turn out more new paintings until there was scarcely room enough in the storefront to hang another. Pradyumna's service was Sanskrit. Prabhupada encouraged him to become expert so that one day he would be able to assist in the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Although to help support the temple, Pradyumna had taken a clerical job with an insurance company. When he wasn't at his job, he would usually be in the basement studying Sanskrit. A natural scholar, he began accumulating books and talking to Sanskrit students and professors at Harvard, where a prominent professor allowed him to audit one of his Sanskrit courses. Prabhupada gave Pradyumna as his first assignment in Sanskrit the rendering of English synonyms for the verses of Brahma Samhita. He also assigned him specific books to study, and Pradyumna took them with enthusiasm. Even avoiding the course Satvaswarupa asked him to do in the temple. Prabhupada was pleased with Pradyumna's work, and this inspired Pradyumna to work more and more. But when Pradyumna sent a list of books he wanted to read to Prabhupada for his approval, Prabhupada, although interested in Pradyumna's scholarship, warned him of the dangers. Regarding the book list, Lord Gauranga by S.K. Ghosh and Vedar Parichaya by Bon Maharaj are useless and you may not get them. The other books by Gaudiya paper are acceptable. I am glad to know that you are working hard to expand the Krishna conscious propaganda in Boston. I may say that this is practical devotion is the secret to understanding the Shastras. My Guru Maharaj used to say that for one who is not engaged in devotional service, reading all the books is simply like licking the outside of the honey jar. One who thinks the book is the thing is content in this way, but we should learn the secret to open the jar and taste the honey. In this way, if we can simply understand one book, one sloka, the perfection is there. Lord Chaitanya warned about reading too many books. Also, I see in America, this is very popular to get volumes and volumes of books and not understand one. Anyway, by sincerely working and by carefully executing the instructions of the spiritual master, you will be all successful by Krishna's grace. I am always praying to Krishna for your advancement in Krishna consciousness, all of you sincere souls. When Prabhupada noticed spelling errors in the Sanskrit words in Back to Godhead magazine, he asked that Pradyumna standardize the Sanskrit transliterations. Pradyumna had the aptitude, and Prabhupada hoped he would be a successful scholar. Satyaswarupa's special assignment was typing and editing Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam dictations. Prabhupada had first given Satyaswarupa this assignment in New York in 1966, and Satyaswarupa had continued when Prabhupada had gone to San Francisco early in 1967. Later, the same year, when Prabhupada fell ill and stopped dictating, there had been no more tapes for Satvaswarupa to type. But as soon as Prabhupada had returned from India, he had again began translating Srimad Bhagavatam. He had returned he had written Satvaswarupa in Boston, asking him to rent a dictating machine. As soon as you let me know that you have one dictaphone there, I will send you the tapes regularly. By the end of December, the tapes had begun arriving at the Boston temple. Plastic reels, Grunding dictation tapes, wrapped in simple business envelope, stapled and addressed in Swamiji's own hand. First, they had come at the rate of one a week, then more quickly, 2 or 3 a week. Satvaswarupa had set aside the early morning hours for typing, and before going to work, even before the others had risen from bed, he would still he would sit on the kitchen floor listening to Prabhupada's voice through earphones and typing. This is better than getting a letter, he would think. It was Swamiji himself teaching the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Satvaswarupa became so attached to his service that his whole existence began to revolve around it. He would feel a pang of love for every US mailman he saw in the city because it was the mailman who delivered Swamiji's tapes. Although Satvaswarupa considered himself expert in hearing Swamiji's voice, on one tape, there was one word he could not understand. Prabhupada was describing the demon Hiranyaksha's birth from Diti, and to Satvaswarupa it sounded like by the pores of pregnancy of Diti. The whole universe went dark. How could Diti's pregnancy have pores? Prabhupada wrote back that it was force, not pores. Prabhupada wrote, the best thing will be as soon as you typewrite the tapes, send me one copy after editing. I will keep one copy with me. You keep one copy with you. Sometimes, while riding on the bus to work, Satvaswarupa would fall asleep and dream of hearing Swamiji's voice in his ears and himself rapidly typing. It was a very personal service. Prabhupada had 9 tapes and he wanted to keep track of how many were with Satvaswarupa and how many were on their way back to him. I have sent one tape this morning, Prabhupada wrote. Probably you are getting it tomorrow. So far, I received your edited copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is nicely done. Since the arrival of winter snow and ice in Boston, not many people had been coming by the storefront in the evenings, and the devotees were content to stay indoors, working on their respective task. Each of them was satisfied that his engagement was perfect. Prabhupada had fixed the date of his arrival in Boston for May 1, and he asked Satyaswarupa to begin arranging lectures for him in Boston's many universities. When the devotee sent Prabhupada a few photographs of the storefront interior, he wrote back, it gives me a nice idea. Although the photos showed only small empty room with an unfinished altar, Prabhupada had not been looking with the eyes of an interior decorator. Rather, his nice idea was that his disciples in Boston were engaging in Krishna consciousness to the best of their ability. The important thing was that they were serving Krishna. By adding Krishna consciousness, anything material would become valuable. When Pradyumna had to enter the hospital for a hernia operation, Satvaswarupa didn't know how they would pay for it. Pradyumna's parents had refused. Having no one else to return to, Satvaswarupa wrote to Prabhupada, asking him if he could pay the bill. Just as a dependent child, fearful of the world, turns always to his protective parents, Satvaswarupa had faith that Swamiji knew everything and could decide everything. And besides, no one else cared about Pradyumna or how Boston Center for Krishna consciousness would pay $500 hospital bill. Satyaswarupa concluded that if Swamiji thought it wrong for him to ask for money, then he would tell them that also. Srila Prabhupada considered the hospital bill a botheration. Why should he have to worry about every item of business in 10 different centers around the world? Although he assured Satyaswarupa that if necessary, he would send the money for Pradyumna's bill, he suggested that his disciples form a governing board to manage such problems. His growing institution had to be properly managed and not entirely by him. He should be left to carry on the duties proper for the spiritual master, not that he should have to be simultaneously treasurer, chairman, troubleshooter, and counselor for each and every problem of each devotee in each center. And yet, that was happening as he accepted more devotees. They were turning to him for everything: medical advice, marriage counseling, financial assistance, as well as transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada said it gave him a headache. After Pradyumna's successful surgery, Prabhupada wrote congratulating him. I shall be glad to know how you are making progress, and I'm anxious that you are still feeling pains. I am glad to know that proper care is being taken and you are not going up any stairs. That is very nice.
Hare
Very
Krishna, Prabhuji.
yes,
Yeah.
you
Shall
can.
we stop for the day today?
Yes, Mataji, I think it's 9 o'clock. Mataji.
Yeah. So, yes, Prabhuji, we can have a short discussion.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, this was a wonderful, experience, Mataji, because I think, Krishna Prabhu gave me this opportunity in a way, and Srila, our Keshav Maharaj used to say sometimes when you have questions and you read Prabhupada-līlāmṛta, Prabhupada talks to you, and incidentally, our Harmony Fest 2.0, which is for our students by Anup Prabhu, we
Mm.
want to start planning by Saturday, but I said like we will see once our Sudhava Prabhu is back. But I think a big message here is reaching the students is very important to spread Krishna consciousness. So that was a very I felt like it was a direct message. And the next important thing is, Mataji, like the paintings, right? When it was deviated from the original standards, Prabhupada clearly told we don't have to do things to attract people and make this sales, but we have to stick to our principles and discipline. And in a few turnout of events in the last few months, I was talking to Sudhama Prabhu also, so kind of it reinforces what Prabhuji said. So these were like big realizations. I think I will drop a voice memo to Sudhama Prabhu also. So it was very nice, Mataji. Thank you for this opportunity. And apart from this, Mataji, I know other aspects like today we read Bhagavatam. There are all this different cantos of Bhagavatam we cherish, we read. But the way those Bhagavatams were, written, one of the disciple was sitting in the kitchen and writing it down, and they had 9 tapes, and they had to, the tapes had to go to US, get the work done, come back to India, and the way they had, Prabhupada had done this is always a big strength, Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. It was really very, very nice. And like when you were also telling, I could also relate as a topic came that Prabhupada in Boston, that a visit to Boston. So I could remember somehow today morning I've seen a clip where Radhanath Maharaj and Gauranga Prabhu with Smriti Irani was in Boston temple. So
Oh,
it felt like, okay, the
nice,
same
Mataji.
thing. Matlab, how the devotee must have worked so hard to bring up the temple, and
Exactly, Mataji.
it's going on. And the one major thing I felt, Prabhuji, because in this chapter we are talking about this great devotee, the Jadurani Mataji, Pradyumna Prabhu,
Yeah.
and Satswarup Maharaj. Well, I think everybody in ISKCON owes so much to them, and so many times Prabhupada also wrote na, that he knew that they are the sincere disciple, because uh, like we are all reading this word to word translation is Pradyumna Prabhu.
Yes.
All our literature in ISKCON. In fact, this Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta is also Satswarup Maharaj.
Oh,
And if all the beautiful paintings which we are seeing in all the books is
yes.
Jadurani Mataji. So, well,
Oh,
they have
okay.
really done so much. Actually, there is more about Mataji also, that
Oh,
she really wanted to there was after that, I don't know if it comes here or not, or it is from some of the letter which I read. I remember that Mataji will also again and again try to paint, and then at some point Prabhupada will say, "No, like Krishna here looks like more like Jesus Christ or something." Prabhupada will she'll paint, and Prabhupada will tell the rectifications at what involves. So Mataji will be on and off very much upset. So at one point she thought that I must go and do a proper master's course and then let me come back for this. Then Prabhupada will say, no, it is in what he wanted her, that it's an on-job learning. There's
Exactly.
nothing like we go to a formal education and then we do. So
Correct.
it's like a great thing that how much effort they have constantly improved them. It's, yeah, Prabhupada has a vision. He's the spiritual master, and he is the greatest of the devotee. But
Totally.
to bring everyone up, he has gone through the several round of rectifications, and yeah, the inputs, as he was telling that everyone was coming from for everything. So yeah, it was very very difficult for Prabhupada, but he still did it for all the disciples, and in a way we all owe to that guru shishya relationship of them, that we are also able to grow in this
Totally.
Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Mataji. Totally, Mataji. I think well summarized, Mataji.
Yeah.
Continue.
So yeah, it was nice relationship between all these Boston devotees.
Yes, Mataji.
And
It was very
Prabhupada.
difficult to, read at the same time, also understand, grasp. It was very difficult, Mataji. Generally Sudha Prabhu reads and we just close the eyes and imagine. So it was a nice thing.
Yes, yes,
Thank you, Mataji.
yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Next.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, Adirasa Prabhu, something you'd like to add?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, I felt today's session. Yeah, was very nice. Yeah, I think Mataji, Prabhuji, you covered all the points I had in my mind, especially this painting. What Prabhupada said to her, that yeah, what you mentioned, Mataji. I like that point, and also to not to we should not much focus about the to attract the people, but to focus on our standards, like what Prabhuji said. No, also so that
Yes, Prabhu.
make Krishna happy. And,
Yes, yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adirasa Prabhu. God Bhagwan Prabhu.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji, Satish Prabhuji, for wonderful reading. Yes, I liked some points. The first one was this letter that Srila Prabhupada had written, which was showing his humility, that his disciples, his learning, his disciples are so great that they are so much surrendered, that he is learning from his disciple. That was wonderful. That there was no doubt that all the disciples, Jadurani Mataji or Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj or Pratyumna Prabhuji, all are very dedicated. They performed all whole day and night, completely surrendered to their spiritual masters. That was wonderful. Also, Satsvarupa Maharaj, I was thinking that he was transcribing this dictation from Prabhupada, and how nice it would be that first time someone is hearing these purports of Bhagavatam first time and then transcribing them, and that would definitely, it was like he was doing like Bhagavatam course. His
Yes.
service. So it would automatically, as we also read, that it made him so much inspired, so much energy, so much spirit. He received enthusiasm just by that service. So we can understand that how great Bhagavatam is, and to
Yeah,
read all these purports and yeah, pastimes. So that was
yeah.
very wonderful to hear. Yeah,
Yeah, many pure devotee Vaishnavas have given us this nectarian scriptures of our Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita.
Mataji, this you said about Pradyumna Prabhuji. He did all these.
Yeah, I think he is the one who, as far as I remember, but we can check also that wherever we have this Sanskrit and Hindi word to word translation,
Mm,
I think so. But yeah, as I remember, but we can check also, Prabhuji.
yeah, I will look.
Yeah, yeah, and please let us know maybe tomorrow because this chapter will continue anyway. So you can, yeah. Actually, I also like 2 points more. When you were speaking, I could remember that there was one point where Prabhupada says, Satswarup Maharaj, that go find me a lecturer appointment. So I was just thinking if that would have said to me, what would I do? Malam, it is, we'll think, oh, lecturer appointment means so many criteria, this, that. But he was simply, he was going, he was like, they were so surrender to the spiritual master that they were just going and checking each university back to back if they could get this lecturer appointment for Prabhupada. So I really like that point also. And at one point, Prabhupada says that reading too many books, he was cautioning Pradyumna Prabhu or Maharaj, I'm not very sure, that even Mahaprabhu also focused that we should think in the practical zone also, the application part, the devotional service. It's not just reading scriptures. So this is also one thing which I liked. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, Shri Prabhupada, yeah, had warned. There is lot of information, as you said correctly, that yeah, lot of things to read, but yeah, we should focus on authorized things to read.
Yeah.
To help. Yeah.
And yeah, and whatever we, as he told, like even one verse or some, matlab the gist and the meaning and how we can, in using that, we can practically use it for the service of the Krishna. That is also equally important. It's not just simply reading and knowing. Krishna Prabhu, anything you would like to share?
Yes, Mataji. First of all, sorry I couldn't read it today because I was not aware that it's my turn. But tomorrow I'm going to definitely read.
Yeah,
And
Prabhuji, it's like nothing hard and fast. So,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. So I'm just, this is my second week of joining this session. So yeah, I'll make sure that I will do it next time. And tomorrow I'll be ready. And thank you, Satish Prabhu, for reading today. Two things which I liked. First thing, I think somewhere in the para is mentioned that the devotees are never get tired of the responsibility. So I
Mm,
think we should also be like that. So in Krishna service, I think we should never get tired of any services. And second thing which I liked is the painting when Mataji was creating. So Prabhupada ji mentioned that you should think of Krishna's in mind, and you should make Krishna happy, not the people. Some sort of line was there. So I think
mm.
yeah, that second point also. This 2 point I really liked when I was hearing from Satish Prabhuji. Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, it was, as you told the point rightly, na, it is very, very true. And where Prabhupada write this word also, I can remember, he says that it is a sign of spiritual advancement.
Yes.
One never, so well, it is at that point, I thought, yes, so when one reaches, because, yeah, at times we feel after a program or something, oh, we are tired. So it
Yeah.
itself gives a meter. There are so many guideline Prabhupada has simply given us to know how we are progressing in our path of bhakti, and seeing the disciples, Prabhupada disciple only, we can get an idea. So yeah, yes, Prabhu, very aptly brought to our attention. Thank
Yes.
you so
Yes.
much.
One more thing, Mataji. So this is my like second week. I started hearing about Prabhupada Maharaj ji. We know about Prabhupada Maharaj ji, but this narration of half an hour, I think it's very, very important. I feel after just joining, like, 4 or 5 days, I believe we should know more, and in order to become a good devotee, I feel. So yeah, thank you for conducting this session. Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. Yes, you have rightly said that since Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, so it is very, very essential that we should know. But actually, this book has two volume, Prabhuji, and we are
Okay.
already done with volume one, volume two. It's towards the end. I think the
Ah,
last
okay.
few chapters only, and that
Okay.
too also it's happening now because Sudama Prabhu in this slot used to take Nityam Bhagavad Sevya. So
Ah,
in his
okay.
absence, we are filling with this Prabhupada-līlāmṛta.
Ah, okay.
But
Okay, Mataji.
usually this slot are for Bhagavatam.
Ah, okay. Okay. No problem, Mataji. So we will have this more in future, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, and Prabhuji, in YouTube also we have a more playlist of in which whatever chapters we have gone through, uh,
Mm-hmm.
they're already there. The volume one chapters and volume two chapters. In case
Okay.
I'm willing, I can share with
Sure,
you.
Mataji. Yeah. Yeah. Sure, Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah. See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.